the tragic story of the banker who saved Kiev. The Ukrainians executed him and then decorated him. In March 2022, members of the Security Service of Ukraine, SPU, killed Denis Kireev, a former banker and participant in the first round of peace negotiations with Russia. Initially, it was announced that he was shot while being arrested on suspicion of treason. It was later revealed that he was working with the Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine and was killed in a misunderstanding. Denis Kirev began his career in finance in the early 2000s, working with the local structures of major Western banks such as Credit Lyonnais, Citibank and ING, writes the Wall Street Journal quoted by Meduza. He was drawn to espionage in 2003, when a relative became the deputy of Ukraine's intelligence service. After several years spent in the banking system, Kireev began to collaborate with businessmen from the Donetsk region, Andriy and Sergei Klyuev. The two brothers were part of the entourage of Viktor Yanukovych, who later became the president of Ukraine. In the early years of Yanukovych's tenure, Andriy Klyuev held the position of Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine, 2010 to 2012, and Secretary of the National Security and Defense Council of Ukraine, 2012 to 2014. During the same period, Kireev was a member of the Supervisory Board of Ukreeximbank and First Deputy of the Board of the State Savings Bank of Ukraine. After Yanukovych was ousted from power in 2014, the Klyuev brothers left Ukraine. Kireev's colleagues said he helped them withdraw some of the assets they owned in the country. At the same time, the banker began to develop ties with businessmen and members of the Russian secret services. In the spring of 2021, when Russia began massing troops on the Ukrainian border, the head of the army's Main Intelligence Directorate summoned Kireev to headquarters and proposed that he begin working with Ukrainian espionage. He had the necessary circle of knowledge. Financial transactions went through him, so he had connections with everyone, including very influential people, Kirill Budanov explained to the Wall Street Journal. Fascinated by the world of espionage, Kireev accepted the proposal and began to travel frequently to Russia. He had information about everything. The world of espionage and the world of business are always connected, said Budanov. If it wasn't for Kireev, Kiev would have fallen. The head of Ukrainian military intelligence said that Denis Kireev learned about the invasion plans of the Russians in the summer of 2021 and was the first to sound the alarm. In February, when war seemed inevitable to many, Kireev was going to take his family on their annual vacation in the Alps, but on February 19 he changed his mind. If I go on vacation, I won't be able to look in the mirror anymore, he told his wife then. 5 days later, on February 23, Kireev delivered an extremely important message to Budanov. Russian President Vladimir Putin had ordered the invasion of Ukraine. At the same time, the banker warned that the Russians were planning a landing of paratroopers near the Antonov airport, known as Hostomel, located 25 kilometers from Kiev, to use it as a launching pad for the siege of the Ukrainian capital. Budanov said Kireev's message contributed to the staunch defense of Kiev, as the Ukrainians had plenty of time to move troops to defend the airport. If it wasn't for Kireev, Kiev would have fallen, Budanov is convinced. When Russian plans for a quick conquest of Ukraine failed, Kiev and Moscow began negotiations. The first round took place on February 28. As Kireev had connections in both camps and knew personally some of the members of the Russian delegation, Budanov invited him to participate in the negotiations. The banker did not want to, because it would have revealed his connection with the Ukrainian intelligence services, but in the end he accepted. Damn it! If the motherland demands it, I'll go, he said, according to a member of his bodyguard. After the negotiations, Kireev had a long talk with Budanov. He warned the banker that since his espionage activities had been exposed, he was in danger. However, he asked Kireev to take part in the second round of negotiations with the Russians, scheduled for March 3. In an interview with the Wall Street Journal, Budanov said that on the eve of the meeting Kireev received a call from the head of counterintelligence in the Security Service of Ukraine, SPU, who asked him to meet with him. The reason why this meeting did not take place is not specified. What is known is that the next day, when Kireev went to SBU headquarters, from where he was to go to Belarus for negotiations with the Russians, he warned his security team that SBU officers might try to detain him and do not resist. Kireev was detained in the center of Kiev, near Street Sofia Cathedral. An hour and a half later, his body was lying on a street. Ukrainian media reported that he was shot in the head during the arrest, but his security team said no one resisted SBU agents. The agency later announced that the incident may have occurred due to confusion between Ukrainian intelligence services. The SBU suspected Kireev of treason because they were not told that he was authorized to maintain contacts with Russian intelligence. However, it is not known why Kireev was liquidated after his arrest, when Ukrainian counterintelligence could have interrogated him to extract information. On March 5, the Main Intelligence Directorate of Ukraine wrote in a press release that Denis Kireev died on a special mission. The President of Ukraine decorated him, by a decree, with the Order of Bogdan Khmelnytsky III degree for special merits in defending the sovereignty of the state, and a few days later he was buried with military honors in the Baikov cemetery in Kiev. Thank you for watching my video. For more videos, stay connected and must subscribe my